Okay, this is going to be a quick podcast on India, its location, what is Hinduism, its main faith, and what the caste system is. Okay, let's start off with where is India? Well, you can see here USA right here, and here's about where Natick is, and India is way over here. Or if you want, you can go this way and fly this way. Regardless, it's a pretty good distance away. So, what is it about India that we want to talk about? First off, let's talk about Hinduism. What is Hinduism? Well, it's the main religion of India. And a key component of Hinduism is that it consists of many gods, making it polytheistic. Polytheism is the belief in many gods. Poly means many. So polytheism, many gods. They believe in reincarnation. Now, what is reincarnation? Reincarnation is the belief that when you die, you return as another life form. Okay? Reincarnation. Okay? The goal in Hinduism is to return your soul to Brahma. And how you get there is through reincarnation. As I stated before, when you die, you return as another life form. Okay? So how's that happen? Well, it happens through karma. You may have heard the word used karma before in casual conversation. When something bad happens to someone, they say, oh, well, that karma happens. That your past deeds determine what you return as. And so if you have good karma, when you pass away, it means you're going to come back in the next life better than you left. Bad karma, however, means, well, not so good of a life. So let me give you a couple examples. If one was a king with the belief in reincarnation and karma, if he was a good king, he would come back even higher. However, if he was a bad king, he could come back as a beggar. If he was a really, really bad king, he could come back as something less than a peasant, less than a beggar. He could even come back as a fly. It all depends how much your good karma outweighs your bad karma, or vice versa. If you've done more good deeds than bad deeds, you can come back as a better situation. And that brings us to what's called the caste system. The caste system, up until 1948, was a pretty big deal in India. And you have technically these levels here as part of the caste. And then you have a group called the untouchables or outcasts outside the caste system. And so I'm not concerned about the words that you can't pronounce. What I am concerned about is the particular levels, okay? And so at the top, you have priests and academics. The next level, interestingly enough, you have warriors and kings. Notice how kings are lower than priests and academics. Third, you have merchants and landowners. Fourth, you have commoners, peasants, and servants. How you get out of these particular levels in the caste system is determined by your karma. So if you are a commoner and you live a great life and you do lots of good deeds, you could come back as a merchant, or you could play up and go up to the kings. Now, that being said, if you lived as I stated earlier, if you lived a not so good life as a king, you could come all the way down to here, or even here. Or you could come back as a fly. So who are these people? The outcasts, the untouchables. The untouchables are outside of the caste system, like I stated. They don't belong within the caste. If you've heard of the phrase outcasts, well, someone is an outcast, in this case, the untouchables are outcasts, they're outside of the caste system. They're outside of the system. They don't have any rights. They do the jobs that no one else wants to do. They pick up, they handle the dead bodies. They clean the latrines, the bathrooms. They do things that these other levels would never ever do. Now the thing with this is, if you are a believer, you accept the belief that it's your own actions that determined your present situation. So if you were a king, you're simply, well, you know what? I have good karma, so I came back as a king. And if you were a peasant or a servant, you would pretty much say, well, you know what? I came back as a servant because in my past life, I had committed some sins. I didn't live a very good life. Convenient that it is set up that way. So there really isn't any place to complain if you're down here, because quite frankly, it was your own doing in a past life. And so that's the caste system. Okay, and so that concludes this quick tutorial on India, Hinduism, and the caste system.